Hi everyone and welcome to another episode of Raptor Sports Wrap. I know we've been gone a little bit, but today we are back with a special guest, Mr. Ryan Sangalia. Welcome back to the Philippines.
Thank you
This
so
guy
much.
is Raptor family. You have the best sports writers you'll find not just in the Philippines but all over the world. He's also a writer for Ring Magazine, former sports editor of Raptor, retired model for Mr. Clean, and one of the nicest guys you'll also ever meet.
I love that introduction. How can we top that? Feels like we've already peaked in this segment.
Yeah, I know. And also, he's a part-time actor nowadays.
Yes,
if you
yes.
guys don't know, those Marvel shows on Netflix.
Yeah.
You'll see Ryan there once in a while.
You'll see me walking in the background and pretending to be afraid on like 12 takes in a row. Yeah, I'm not gonna get a Golden Globe though, I don't think.
All right. Well, so for this episode, we're taking a look forward to 2020, specifically the sports in the Philippines and some worldwide that we can look forward to. And of course, Ryan, the big event is the Tokyo 2020 Olympics. How excited are you for that?
I'm very excited. I think that Philippine sports is definitely riding a high after the SEA Games. That was a big momentum builder for the Philippines, and not just for the athletes, but I think also for the fans, the Filipinos. They're really turned on to sports right now. I think that a lot of strong prospects came out of there, and it was not. What I liked about it was that it was an opportunity for the fans to get familiar with a lot of the athletes, and I think that it kind of gives the athletes something to really fight for, and I think it helped with build the purpose that they have going into Tokyo.
Right. And speaking of athletes who will represent the Philippine colors in the Olympics, we already have the likes of Carlos Yulo and EJ Obiena who have already qualified for the tournament. And we have people vying for a spot too in the running. Like we have Marjolin Didal, we have Heidelin Diaz, of course. She won a silver medal in 2016 in Rio. And we have Yuka Sasso also. Of course, Ryan, one of the most anticipated sports when it comes to the Olympics is boxing. And the Philippines hasn't medaled in Olympic boxing in 24 years. So how do you see the Philippines' chances in the upcoming Olympics?
In recent times, I think this is the best chance we have to win a medal in boxing. We had, of course, Yuma Marshall. People were really following closely when he made his run at the World Championships in Russia last year. He came up just short against the hometown fighter in the gold medal match, so he won a silver. But also the female boxer, Nesty Petesio, in the featherweight division, she won gold. She's only the second Filipina in history to win gold at the World Championships. And she was competing in the featherweight division, which is going to be debuting at the Olympics for the first time. Before it was only 3 divisions that they had in Olympic boxing for women. Now it's been expanded to 5. So I think you have to make her not just a medal favorite, but she has to be a gold medal favorite almost, because she's the most recent gold medalist in the Worlds.
One of the careers you've closely followed throughout your own writing career is that of Manny Pacquiao, who, when you talk about Philippine boxing, obviously is one of the main topics that always comes to mind. What can we expect out of Manny in 2020?
I think it's going to be interesting because he's coming off of a high in 2019. A lot of people had written the obituary for his career. They felt that he's coming up on 40. He's not going to be the same anymore. And the interesting thing is that at 40, he had one of the best years of his career in the last decade. Beat Adrian Broner, which, Broner was not Broner of 2012, but he was still a name. But then he beat Keith Thurman in one of the best fights of the year. And he's, I would say, up there in the conversation for the best fighter of the year in 2019. So I think that makes it interesting for him coming into 2020.
So Ryan, how do you feel about shifting to some local sports news?
Yeah, I'd love that. I've been gone for a couple of years. Tell me what I've been missing.
Well, the PBA finals of the Governor's Cup Conference is ongoing right now, and once again, we have a rematch of the Meralco Bolts and Barangay Ginebra San Miguel. So you've got 2 solid imports. You've got Justin Brownlee, you've got Alan Durham, you've got 2 teams with a lot of local talent, star talent. You've got 2 great coaches, Norman Black for Meralco, who is gunning for his first championship with the Bolts franchise. And you've got the GOAT, Tim Cohn, for Ginebra, of course, still going, still motivated to win every conference. Are you excited to watch that matchup?
Yeah, hopefully I can catch game 3 here before I leave.
Right. See, that final series, a lot are saying that this might be the conference where Meralco eventually gets past Ginebra because the last two times those two teams met in the Governors Cup finals, Ginebra came out victorious, including that first time they met when Justin Brownlee had what I think is the greatest shot in PBA history ever, the buzzer beater to win the championship and Ginebra's losing streak. But you know what? I think that the Bolts, given all their defeats in the past finals, given the fact that they've got some new talent like Alain Maliksi that they've added, you got a better, more veteran version of Nasser Amir. I would wager in the Bolts to win this. How about you?
Yeah, no, I'm gonna have to defer to you on this. I do remember, of course, when Brownlee hit that big shot, and I remember how it got the Ginebra fan base electrified. I'm just excited to see be in that atmosphere again because I know how the Barangay Ginebra goes nuts for their team.
Exactly. You can't mention the PBA without having Barangay Ginebra come to mind, bread and butter of the Philippine Basketball Association. And also, some latest news in the UAP in basketball. The De La Salle Green Archers have another new coach. We have Derek Pumaran coming back to Taft. He led the LSU championships in the past, so that's something to look forward to when basketball rolls around late in the year.
So Naveen, big news. LaSalle new coach, Derek Pumaran. Tell me about it.
Well, most people know him for his recent accomplishment of leading a 7-man CEU roster to the finals of the PBA D-League against Ateneo, which we now know is like the super team of the century because of how well they perform. But Coach Derek, his resume speaks for itself. His last stint with the UE Red Warriors didn't do so well. It was uneventful. They didn't really make the Final Four. But he was responsible for leading LaSalle to its first UAP championship back in 1989. Now, there has been some criticism that maybe the game has passed Derek by, but based on his performance with CEU, I don't think so. Now, some news also, Jermaine Bird, who was the coach or consultant of LaSalle last year, is staying as a skills and developmental coach, which I think is good for his capabilities. So you have a good tandem there. You have Coach Jermaine, who will help with developing the young guys. You have Coach Derek, who is used to the Filipino style of college basketball. And you know, in the past few years, LaSalle has had the merry-go-round of head coaches. You know, they haven't really been able to establish a culture. It's irked a lot of the LaSalle faithful from over the years, older alumni, because you know, it's like what Robina Gokongwei said last year about UP. Having 6 different head coaches is like having 6 different CEOs of a business. It just can't function properly like that. So there's criticism that Derek is a little old school, but given how the new school, new history of LaSalle has gone, maybe old school is exactly what they need right now. Now on to some other news. Gilas Pilipinas, the Philippine men's national basketball team, is in the process of finding a new naturalized player after it was announced that Andre Blatch would no longer represent the Philippine colors. Now there are some names that have been floated around, like Justin Brownlee of Ginebra. He's definitely talented. And in the meantime, we have Christian Standhardinger and Stanley Pringle, who will take that role for the Philippine national team. Ryan, you were here also during the start of Blatch's tenure with the national team. Now, he had some great moments, but there were also some times where he didn't live up to expectations. How do you think he fared representing the Philippines?
I think that given how the expectations for a lot of people were not that high, I think he exceeded them in a lot of ways. He definitely played with heart, played with Puso. I remember the World Championships, the World Cup back in 2014 when he was one of the leading scorers for Gilas. But the problem was that he sometimes would dominate the ball a little bit too much. He was like a big man point guard, and I think that he took some of the other players out of the offense a bit. Of course, you know, you always have to talk about conditioning. That had been an issue at times with him. But the one thing I can say is when he was on the court, he played with his heart. He played, you know, all out. He played to win. He took it very seriously. I think that he understood that this was not some club team. This wasn't, you know, the Wizards or something like that. Exactly. He took it. I think that he understood the responsibility and did his best to live up to it.
Right. With Andre too, at the beginning of his tenure, this was like watching a unicorn, basically, because he was a big man, basically 7 feet tall. He could dribble, he could pull up, he had step backs. But later on, as age caught up to him, he didn't really shed the pounds that he needed to, and he was just a step slower, and everyone had scouted him, Philippines rivals, and it kind of just went downhill for him from there. But at the same time, Andre was part of the 2014 roster in the World Cup that helped the Philippines win their first game in decades, basically. So that's something that I think Filipinos should always be thankful to him for. But I would also understand those who were disappointed that it seemed like he didn't really take the conditioning as seriously as he should have. Now we are almost at the end of the show. Ryan, thank you so much for joining us. It was a pleasure having you here talking
Thank you
sports.
for having me here.
Of course, yeah. And welcome back to the Philippines. I hope you enjoy your stay and get to watch a lot of the games that's going to be going on.
Yes, it's great to be back here at Rappler. It's like I never left, except my ID doesn't work anymore to get in here. But and I just want to say I'm very proud of you. You have
Thank you.
this book right here, Nowhere to Go But Up. I actually wrote the foreword to it. I was honored that you would ask me to write the foreword, and I got a chance to read it. I'm like, wow, really, you really worked hard on this, and the writing is really strong. So I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to write the foreword for this.
I appreciate it. And that is your copy. Thank you for all the help. In
I
the
get to keep
process.
this?
Yeah, you do.
Aw, shucks. High five. All right. Score.
Score, right?
Yeah.
And that is a wrap.